Welcome to my channel. So basically what we have here is an HTML driven dashboard for Home Assistant. All my dashboards are HTML driven. The reason I've chosen to do this is because it gives me a lot of power with regards to the layout, the granularity, how I want things to interact. I don't have to sit and fight with specific pre-built components. I've got the full power to make any card interact with me in any specific way that I wish. Um, from a speed perspective, what I tended to find with Home Assistant is when I was on the go, I needed to open up my gate or my garage in a hurry. I would pull it out, open the app. App would take time to load because it loads all the dashboards before it actually displays on your phone, and that was just a waste of time. HTML is immediate, so I've got access to the information I need at the time I need. I've got full flexibility to do what it is that I need to do. And personally, the aesthetic, this is what appeals to me. It may not appeal to everyone. However, this is up to your own creativity, and you can generate dashboards in the aesthetic that appeals to you. This demonstration is just to show you what is possible. If we have a look at some of the components, you can see that it shows the Dockerization, top memory performance, top CPU, utilizers, my NVR, which is Frigate, and everything else with regards to the specific dashboard. And if we click around and just have a look at what else we have here, you can see that this is your typical landing page for your smart home, where you'll be able to see, I guess, a specific room. You can click on that room, and you can see which lights are available to action in that specific room. What you'll note is that there is a orange neon glow behind that card, so that gets triggered when a light is activated within that specific area. So at a very quick glance, I am able to see the images that represent the various areas in my house, and the neon glow tells me very quickly that there are lights on. Obviously, we've got these little badges on top that show the number of lights and where they're on. At any point in time, no matter where I am with regards to my Home Assistant dashboard, I can always click on the total number of lights. It will show me which areas, and I can switch them all off or individually select what I want on and off. If you go to the upper floor, you can see this is the family, main bedroom, my daughter's rooms, and the upstairs hall light, and they work on the same principle. If I click on the main bedroom, you can see that I've got an ambient light selector because I've got a dimmer in the switch, and then I've got various other switches. The icons can be changed to your liking for the purpose that's required. This that you've seen, we go here. This is quite useful for me. This is the guest access passes. Sometimes I have people coming over, and I may not be over at the time. They have the ability to access the gate, the garage, gain entry into the environment. I've got full control of them. I can pause a ticket. I mean a pass. I can extend it. When they use it, I get a notification on my phone. So all of that is pretty well customizable. I use it for my domestic. She comes in at a specific days of the week, between specific times. It allows me to provide that level of customization on when she can come in and what she can do. You can see that the specific test user has got all parameters. They got the gate, the house, and lights, and whatever else. So you can sort of customize what they can do when they come into your premises, which is fantastic. Over here, we've got my AI sort of a Frigate layer. This isn't Frigate itself. It's obviously Frigate is in the back end, but it's surfacing the information in the way that I want to see it. I can see my various cameras, and over here, I can see all the events. If I change it to 6-hour view, and I click on a specific vehicle, click on play, indexes and stuff very fast. So you can find events at the point in time that you need to, instead of watching hours and hours of video. It's a very, very powerful way of managing your video feeds. It also integrates with most cameras out there, except for Blink, or any of those cameras that tend to have cloud hosting only providers. I would generally stay away from them, but otherwise, you should be able to get access to the RTSP stream in order to bring it in to your Frigate layer. Got a family calendar, so very quickly, we'll be able to add events to the calendar, remove them, have a very clear idea of who's doing what during the week, month view, day view, pretty much like Outlook. This is being integrated with regards to Gmail, mine and my wife's Gmail. It pushes events here. My kids have their own Gmail accounts. They can push events, so at least everyone is aware on who needs to be picked up when and what. So it's quite important. It's a smart home. It's also important that we are orchestrating our lives around the smart home as well. If I look at the power dashboard, so this house runs on an inverter setup. I can see exactly over the last 8 hours what the power trend has been. What am I currently pulling on the grid right now? What is the house load? The washing machine at the moment is pulling 13 watts, so it's in standby mode. And currently it's evening, so the solar production is zero. Battery is sitting at 85%. So we live in South Africa. Power does get cut out quite often. So when it does get cut out, we will be running on battery and we should be okay. I can also see my pool pump and my geyser. I can see the temperature of the geyser as well as the length of time that has been on today. Because we are now in the early hours of the morning, it hasn't run yet, but it will. There's also quite intensive algorithms that look at the solar production. It'll put my pool pump and my geyser on when it's most efficient to do so in order to use the sun to power these power hungry components, which allows me to get away without paying huge amounts of money to the energy producer. Um, I've got a 4 bedroom house, and I mean, this cost in dollar terms, probably around $25 a month is what I pay the local power producer because of the um, algorithms that I'm running to make my home quite efficient. It also shows me the total daily cost. So currently I've got R1, which is probably around, sure, a point something of a dollar, 0.00 something of a dollar. And we've also got our security platform, which allows us to see which zones have been active, when they were active. If a zone comes up, so if there's some sort of movement, it'll be highlighted in green. It'll be highlighted in green for the next 10 minutes when it's active. So if something does go off during the night, it's very quickly for me to look at the tablet and understand which zones are active. So if there is someone there, we can plan around that. The other thing about being a family home is that we watch different series, we watch it on different TVs. But here you can select which TV you want to push the series to or the movie to. It keeps track of where you are and which episode you're at. The specific one we're watching on Netflix, the specific one we're watching on WP Watchlist, and you can play. It will trigger that feed to that TV, and you can watch it. And it will also activate the cinema mode, which you can obviously disable if you want to, which basically sends a signal to the lighting to set up the lighting in an ambient fashion, um, in a manner that I guess is enjoyable for us. Which lights need to be on, which lights need to be off, etc. We've also gamified our exercise, etc. We're in the middle of the night, so can't expect too much activity here, but we can very quickly see um, whose phones are on focus mode, whose are not. I'm currently awake, and the amount of steps that they've done that day. So that's a brief overview of the dashboard. If you are interested in how I control and produce these things with AI, I will do a very quick demonstration. You can see here I've created a sensor that sort of combines all the sensors in my environment and shows me which ones have been triggered recently. This is just a very quick activity timeline. Allows me to view these things in a chronological manner. But let's get into the more interesting things with regards to the dashboard. So I'm going to go to the power dashboard. No, not that one. Let's go there. And there's another dashboard from a visual sense. If you're standing far away from a tablet, sometimes on those more intricate dashboards, you can't see what the indicators are and what the value parameters are. So I've also created dedicated dashboards that are easy to look at from a distance. And this is specifically one of them. You can see at the bottom here, it will show which device is currently pulling power. And you can see this is in standby mode. It's only 13 watts. So if I want to make a change, all I do is I bring up my Claude Code interface, and I'll basically state in the power dashboard, there is a sub dashboard that has a few gauges and an animated pulsating sphere for the various appliances that might be active. We need to set a hold that an appliance should only be active if it is pulling more than 50 watts. I'll send that through. So basically what's happening now is it's sending this command through to the large language model. The large language model is interpreting the request, has access to the source code. It will figure out exactly where the dashboard is. Based on the prompt that I've provided it, it will try and contextualize it and action what it believes my request is. So generally, because it's got access to the source code base, is quite good at figuring this stuff out. And you can see it's found it. It's now going in and making those changes to the HTML. I don't have to go figure this out, change things, tinker, which is what I was doing quite a lot within Home Assistant. It used to frustrate me to no end. And you can see this is now done. It's showing me that for the geysers 50 watts, pool pump 50 watts, washer 50. So, okay, washer 10 watts and dishwasher 10 watts. Sorry, that was the old thresholds, and what the new thresholds are, everything is 50 watts. So how do we do this? Well, let's empty cache and do a hard refresh. And now we can go back into the power, and let's go back here, and you will see that the gauges are active, but that animation is gone because it's pulling under 50 watts. So that's generally how I would go about doing this. The other interesting thing here is that the grid is green on the gauge. I don't know if that's right. It should probably be a crimson red. So let's just make that change. Please change the gauge color from green to crimson red for grid on the same sub our dashboard. And again, it's going to take that prompt. It's going to try contextualize it. It's got a history from the previous request, as well as the code base on what it needs to do. So this shouldn't take too long. It will, it's currently orchestrating, but what it's actually doing is just trying to find all the various patterns in the dashboards that it needs to change. So it'll index all the changes. Then it will go and make those specific changes. You'll see the code base. So it's found it. The grid uses the gradient from green to yellow to red. Let me change it to crimson red. And there we go. It's found the source code, and it's now changing all of that as we speak. Once it's done, it will communicate that with me. I can then refresh the dashboard, and there we go. So now let's do that. Let's refresh the dashboard. Go back to power. Give it a second to load. Load the sub dashboard, and you can now see it's crimson red. Give it a second. It will activate the animations, the feed. And there we go, I've made the change. And that's generally how this works. It's pretty powerful, and I think this is going to be the standard of home automation. Well, it's a standard for code already. I think within the home automation space, once more users figure out the power of vibe coding their way through these dashboards, it's a much more pleasant experience than trying to figure out your YAML indentation. Have you done that properly? And breaking dashboards and just leaving them broken, and your family's being frustrated because you haven't had time to apply your mind. All of that stuff goes away. I really hope that this experience and me taking you through this has proven to be valuable. And please subscribe. And I'm going to be pushing a lot more content with regards to how I build a lot of the interfaces and the look and feel using vibe coding.